Hi guys, this is Sarah with Quantum Healing with the Angels, and I have a new episode for you today. First, we just wanted to say thank you to those who donated. I know I sounded pretty bummed out last time. Someone asked me if I was okay. I really wasn't okay, and it's been hard, but things are starting to look up, I think. I hope, and I hope they're getting better for you guys too, if you've been going through something similar. But yeah, we appreciate that so much, and wanted to say thank you. Also, I have to tell you about something that we are doing. I just recorded it and it took way too long, so I'm gonna make it concise. We are going to do a light language course. This is something the angels are excited about. We're calling it a discovery course because we're going to be learning from the angels. Travis will be channeling live at least a couple times, we think. At least twice. And we'll be learning from them. And so you'll get to ask questions in real time and get answers. And we're excited for that. Also, when a lot of people get together and do light language, it has a strong healing effect, even when one person's doing it. So I don't know what's going to happen when a lot of us are doing it, but I'm excited to see, because I have this feeling that it might be pretty special. And we're going to be doing it together. So we will all be speaking it, but you won't be speaking it by yourself. We're just trying to get it activated so that you can start feeling what it's like. But you won't have to feel self-conscious or anything like that, because we'll all be doing it at the same time. So that is about as concise as I can get. I'll just tell you, while we were talking about it, a huge orb flew across the room. I've never seen that happen when we were talking about. Well, I've never seen that happen in here. We've seen little ones, but not like a giant star fleck across the room. So I think we're talking about some pretty exciting stuff. To get notified, go to my website. There is a place to sign up for notifications right at the top of the page. And my website is Sarah with an H -web, WBB, sorry, good Lord, WEBB.com. So let me say that again. It is Sarah, SARAH -web, WEBB.com. Oh my heavens. Okay. Now this episode today, we had a guest on. Actually, we had two guests on. And some of you may know this little girl. She is a starseed who remembers. Actually, she is a hybrid being. She is living a life concurrent to this life as a Blue Avian being. I first saw her on TikTok with her mom, Kirsten. Kirsten is a healer, and she also does plant medicine and things like that. It was a very interesting conversation. We got to talk about Starseed children, what it's like to have a Starseed child. And I do know that some of you have Starseed kids. So she has some good advice for parents of Starseed children. And it's just interesting to hear about how it all happened. It is a lot of Kirsten talking because Sevyn is so little. She can't be on that long, she gets tired. But she did talk with us a little bit, and she did also some light language for us. So you'll get to hear that too. If you do want to learn more about Kirsten's retreats or work with her or Sevyn, all that information too will be in the show notes. and I will make sure to put that at the top so it'll be easy to find. All right, we're going to get going. I hope you guys enjoy this. It's episode 28 of Quantum Healing with the Angels. Well, hello, Kirsten and Sevyn. Thank you so much for being on our show.
For having us.
We've been trying to do this for how long? It's been a while.
I know, for some reason your messages got hidden. I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, it was funny because you reached me and I was like, oh my gosh, like how have I been missing these messages?
You're busy, I'm sure. So how are you doing, Sevyn?
Good.
You're good? Did you just get done with school?
Mm-hmm. Frackie, get down. No.
Yeah. Oh, do we get to see Is it Frackie?
Yeah, Fractal is her name.
We have a Coconut is our little Siamese. Well, we have two Siamese cats.
Yeah, and Fractal's got a little bit of a haircut that I cut her, so it's a little bit off. But that's Fractal.
It looks like Matisse.
It looks like TC, yeah. Hi, Fractal.
Careful. She's all the best. Let's get her. There we go. Okay.
I found you guys on TikTok, and I think maybe Sevyn activated my light language. I wasn't listening to anybody else's light language when that happened, so I think maybe it was her. But yeah, that's kind of how I saw you guys, and yeah, I've just been watching you for a while since then. And Sevyn is a Blue Avian, right? Or remembers her Blue Avian.
Yeah, when we started having experiences, I don't know if she remembers this, but she was about 2.5. We lived in Utah, and I walked in her room one night and there was like this whoom. And then as soon as I crossed over the threshold, the energies went into the walls. And I never believed in aliens at this point, but for some reason, my intuition, I've always been very intuitive, have been since I was 4. I was like, there were beings in her room, and I was freaking out because I went to go wake her up and she was like in a deep sleep, and I'd heard her cry, which is why I went in there to check on her, and I was like, something is very off. And then the next morning, so I was really scared, and the next morning, when I went to go take her to daycare, she had like what looked like surgical scars that had healed over. And it was very strange. Like it didn't look like a scratch. It looked like something very different. But I said, Sevyn, who scratched you? And she said, my Omi. And that's my mom. My mom lived in Texas at the time. I'm like, Omi's in Texas, baby. And she was like, no, it was Omi. Omi came to me. Omi came and visited me. And it wasn't until later that I found out, after speaking to a lifelong contactee, she said they come as somebody you know in the beginning. So it's because they don't know what you remember, so not to scare you. And then from then on, then she started telling me stories about going to Mars and healing blind aliens. And then when she was 4, she came to me and she said, I have to tell you something really serious. And I was like, okay. I went into her room, and it was at night, I'll never forget. And she said, I'm not human like you, or I'm not completely human like you. And I was like, what do you mean? And I kind of laughed because I was like, what? And the look on her face, I almost started crying because the look on her face was just like so sad, like, oh my gosh, she's not going to believe me. And all the things flashed in front of my eyes about like when I told them that I had visions about my grandfather going to the hospital, them not believing me and telling me the devil made this happen, all kinds of crazy stuff like that. All of that flashed like in front of my eyes like very quickly. And so I said, I'm so sorry, baby, let's start over. And then she kind of told me, and she launched into this discussion and told me she was from another planet and that she was a Blue Avian. And she had said for the longest time, I'm a blue alien, but I didn't know, I really didn't know what that meant. But so she told me this is who I am, and this is where I'm from. And I need you to let me get on TikTok and speak about my experiences, because I have to get this message out there to the other kids. And to get to the kids, we have to, the parents get to be the ones to allow their kids to do it. And so I was like, okay. I mean, it took me a while to get on board. At first I was like, no, people can be very mean, and stuff like that. And then Sevyn, she's very insisting. She's just like her mom. Like she's like, Mom, can we do this? And then I let her do it. And then kind of the rest is history. Well, why don't you tell them what you remember about it and what they used to, when they used to come visit you, or they still do sometimes. Why don't you tell them
About what again?
about your avians and like when they, like how you knew that you were a blue avian and what they told you?
So at that time that my mom explained when I was crying, but I wasn't crying, that's when the aliens came and said, hey, you're a part of us, you're going to come with us. So then I went on there, but then I wasn't there because I was never there to become born, so then I had to become born. So then I was born on that planet. So that was fun, I guess.
Was it scary?
Hi.
And what are the blue avians like? Like especially your boss and stuff.
They're nice, very nice. My boss is sometimes strict.
Sometimes can you step a little bit?
My boss is sometimes strict.
Strict.
Yeah.
Travis has another lifetime too, where it's like a parallel life where he looks like Groot, I think, is the way he's described.
Oh my god. Okay, hold on. You
I
see
have my I am Groot shirt on.
Oh my god. Yeah, like
That's
it's
it.
it's based around that, but it's a male and a female. Like here, it's a male. I'm trying to get a good angle. A male and a female kissing, but it's like, yeah, it's very much based on. So when I work with plant medicines, and most of the time when people are working with me, I'll shapeshift into this very earth-based being. That sometimes it'll be like the white buffalo calf woman, but moreover, it's this energy. And I look like I have a trees running through my veins and everything. So
That's it. Because that's my parallel life. I go around putting crystals in different planets, and the crystals grow under the ground, and people can use them for energy and all kinds of things. That was pretty much my job, is to go around putting crystals on different planets and stuff. It's crazy.
You're still in that life though.
Yeah, it's a parallel life. I'm living that life as same as this life, basically.
oh, I can see it in you. There's almost a split in your consciousness. Like there's a part I can see to the, like on my left side, so on your right side,
Yeah.
like I can see another little portion of you. So that
See that
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 is
is
really cool. I've never met anybody who's living like a parallel. Very interesting.
Yeah, it's happening, man. I pretty much been like that my whole life, and it's kind of weird that I'm in my 50s and everything's just coming out. But I knew my whole life that I was kind of that way. That's probably why with certain people I only got along with certain people, I guess. Um, I don't know. It was just certain people I like to hang around. That was pretty much open-minded people. If they weren't open-minded, I didn't want to be around them, basically.
I'm the same. I'm the same way. I've gotten better since having her on TikTok, because a lot of people, I get a lot of things like, "Oh, she's talking to demons," and it makes me laugh because of like this sweet little girl who just wants to help people. I like, maybe you should look at who you're talking to, because I think the wires got mixed there. But yeah, so so I've gotten a little bit more tolerant of people who aren't open-minded, because I realize they're all in their journey and they're all doing things in their own way. And I've even had conversations with people who, are open to it, people who are very religious and stuff like that. That I'm, and sometimes I'll have conversations with me and afterwards they're blown away. They're like, wow, I didn't, and I didn't expect that to happen. I didn't expect to believe what you were saying, because it's usually about stuff with her. But what are you looking for, Lex?
And the light language has actually been. Me and my wife just started doing light language, and it's healing people.
Yeah, it's powerful. Why do you think it's so powerful, baby? Your light language.
Because it's a language that's a part of people that can help them.
That can help them.
Mhm.
You've also told me before, it has to do with the frequency and like what you're thinking about when you're doing it.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so powerful. Yeah. She straight up pulled another one of the things when I knew when I knew she was definitely special. One day I had a really bad headache. I was going to do a removal, like and
Tell that
this
to everybody.
this family they had a shop, and there was like constantly stuff was happening, like it imploded, there was fire, like thing after thing kept happening, and I was like, oh, there's something there. So I was going to do this removal, and I could sense energy was like really dark. So I had such a massive headache, almost so much that I canceled, and she was like, do you want me to get rid of it for you? I'm like, okay, baby, like sure, but I don't think you can do that. And she all of a sudden just went, she pulled it out of my nose and threw it out the window. And I was like, what was that? And I was like, have you always known how to do that? And what'd you say? Yeah, she said, yeah. And then she just went on to the next thing.
That is definitely that is the way it works too. Um, yeah, yeah, that's true. Cause Sevyn, have you ever scraped paint off of people? Like you go like this and you scrape the paint off,
I
like you're digging it out.
kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
You did that on Opa. Yeah, when you were working on my dad. That's when she turned my parents into real believers, because when she first started talking about her alien stuff when we were living with them, I went through a very painful divorce with her dad, and we moved with my parents for a while. And so we were living with them, and my parents were like, stop, tell her stop talking about this alien stuff. It's nonsense that you're like encouraging her. I'm like, no, 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 I'm not encouraging her. I'm simply allowing her to be who she is, and I'm not going to tell her it's wrong because you guys don't really understand it. So and so after she did that with my dad, they were like, okay, we're convinced. And now they call her Dr. Sevy.
I was doing, I do like hypnotherapy healing, quantum healing. And it happened during one of my sessions. And I said, oh, I think I have to speak this. And I was shy to do it at first, but then I got over it. And then Travis started speaking it, and now we do it together. And it makes people believers for sure, because they're just like, I don't know what you did, but it worked.
We had something interesting that happened a couple days ago. There was a woman on TikTok, and she was posting, and a lot of people tagged me in this. And she said she had a near-death experience. She actually died and went to heaven. And she came back. She was like, "I learned this language, and it was a language that God spoke." She's like, "Does anybody know who this is?" So everybody tagged me in the video, like it sounds like Sevyn's language. And so in fact, she was like, "Oh my God, that's it!" She was freaking out because she's been looking for somebody to understand it for a long time. And her and Sevyn had a conversation in the car, and then here for like an hour and a half, full on understanding each other, no breaks, light language, just going back and forth. And I was like, oh my God. And they were laughing, like full on understanding each other, which that to me, I can understand the gist of it, but I did not on the level that they did. And I was just, wow, that blew me away.
Yeah, I saw that. That was pretty cool because I heard them back and forth talking, and they were just like, yeah, this, just like a regular conversation.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw that. I was like, man, that is so cool. Because when my wife started doing it, yeah, at first I thought it was a little weird at first too, and then for some reason I started wanting to do it, and I asked, because I can channel angels and stuff, so I channeled the angels and I asked if I could do it, and they pretty much just gave me the gift. Really, they just gave it to me, and I started doing it.
Oh, well, Sevyn revealed something this morning that was very interesting. When she does her healing stuff and when she gets her information, she goes up in these rings. She's the key holder for this dimension, and only the kids, really, it's designed for the kids. So I can't go up there like without her or anything, right? And her guides up there is Thoth is one of them, and then who else?
Mm, Thor.
Thor. And then Isis has been up there too before and stuff. So it's mostly the Egyptian pantheon, but there's obviously the Norse pantheon is in there too. So she went up there today, and I told her to ask about who she was. Was she always a Blue Avian, or what she was before that? And I just posted the video. It was so interesting. So she said that she was pure light, and that she was like a ghost, and that she was essentially like an angel, that she was working. She said she was working in heaven. She was chose to work in heaven, but that she didn't have a body, and that she was just pure light. And so it was really, really powerful, because I asked her, okay, if you were going to transfer, like ask him if you wanted to visit Earth, how would you do that? And she said it was through a ball of light, like a white light that like can be also red, like like really powerful red color, but like also just a white ball of light. And if you see all the orbs that people are seeing these days, the big ones, these are white big balls of light that turn red like this.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know this is, like I said, I pretty much believe in everything, but people don't know that, but the Bigfoots can come in a ball of light also, like out in the
Some
woods.
of them are portal jumpers, yes.
Right. They
Mhm.
come in, they come in a ball of light sometimes, and and every time somebody sees, when they see them run, they can't explain how they run. They say look like they're floating. When they see them run off, they're floating. They're not like jumping like this, they're floating, and they can't explain how they do that. You know.
We heard them, and we were in Mammoth a couple of weeks ago, and we heard Bigfoot calls like out in the and
Yes.
we were all like, what was that? Because it was such a strange noise. It was so funny. A gentleman we were with, it freaked him out. He's like, okay, can we stop? And I'm like, no, this is because I was like calling it back at them, and they were like communicating.
We were out in that place and we saw that whole train of like stars.
Yeah, up in Trabuco Canyon. Yeah, she
Oh.
can call in the orbs pretty easily. Like when she taps in, they usually like the light, like the UFOs and the star beings will come through pretty easily.
Oh man.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I like that kind of stuff. It's because I know it's there. It's there, and it's pretty much in a different dimension. It kind of pops in our dimension every now and then. That's why people sees them. But you know, people just don't understand that kind of stuff. People don't get the gist about dimensions really because you know our angels. We had angels. Angels told us about things like that, about people disappearing into portals and stuff like that. Like
That
some people
happens
come up.
too in the national parks because of all the
Right.
because of all the quartz there. My guides have told me as well, what happens is, and it's not of a malevolent thing, it's just they disappear into a different dimension because the overabundance of quartz and magnesium that are in the national parks. It just causes portals to open up there. Thankfully, I can see portals, so I've never seen one big enough to walk through, but I've seen them, especially when we were in Arizona. I saw many, many portals, and I was like, oh, I wonder where that goes. And I also saw Stargate. And the Stargate, we did a retreat at a place in Dragoon, Arizona. The land used to be owned by the Rockefellers.
Oh wow.
And
Why do you mean?
because I scratched my finger.
No,
But inside of the Stargate, you could see literally into, like, there were mountains and other things into the Stargate.
Oh wow.
That's
It was the
amazing.
trippiest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I was like, wow. Maybe, do you want to do, and I'll let you go. Do you want to go do a light language activation for people to help bring in?
Yes, could you do that?
Right here, like to light
Yeah.
to help them.
Ooh.
After we do the podcast.
Okay.
Okay.
Doesn't want something.
Okay.
Atkani istuja, atkani elue, atkani elo. Elämä, atkani etkuni eli, atkani elue, atkani etkani vielä, atkani elämä, atkani elo, atkani elätä, atkani 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 elo, atkani 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 elo. Atkani elo, atkani furi, atkani etkui, atkani elämä, atkani elo, atkani atkani elä, fuina, atkani elo, atkani elämä, atkani elo, atkani elämä fira, atkani ogani, atkani eli, atkani atkani. Atkani mira.
Thank you, love.
Thank you,
I felt
Sevyn.
that.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Thank you. I felt that too. Thank you, Sevyn.
Okay, you can tell me that they're recording. So.
Bye. Thank you, honey.
I love.
Bye
Bye.
Bye.
I'm kidding. You're right.
I was gonna say, I remember your New Year's thing. We actually asked the angels about that.
Mhm.
And they were like, oh, yeah, we're not that far away. When you're in a spiritual place or you're in a trance or, medicine or whatever, you can see us walking around up here. It's like, oh, okay. That's good to know. They said, yeah, we look kind of tall. Sometimes it freaks people out.
Yeah. I haven't seen like angels per se, but I have seen, like I said, I saw what happened is I saw completely in the sky, and we were with a physician. We were doing a retreat for this couple, physician, his wife, my mentor that I was co-facilitating with, and two other people. All of us saw in the sky, the clouds would cover it at one point, and then the clouds would disappear, and then you could straight up see there were pyramids, and then there was a mountainous structure with a waterfall. It was a full-on city, like in the clouds.
That's what they said. I can't. I bet seeing that though was just.
Oh my gosh, we were like, we couldn't stop talking about it. It was funny because, like, his wife was like, okay, like we see it, but we kept going on and on and on because it was so interesting because he's never seen anything like that before. I'd seen it once before, but not to that extent. So, like, it was super exciting for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they even got. I think I seen a video on YouTube when they actually showed something like that, but you saw people walking around up there, and they were like huge. Like, God, they were huge. Just walking around up there.
They tell us that that's like an optical illusion. They're not really that huge, but somehow they can see them.
This brings back the memory of when I was looking into the Stargate. When I was peering into that Stargate, at one point, this wasn't the first time, but the second time I saw a being that had a huge head that almost filled up the whole thing. So it would have to have been that they were really, really tall. Yeah, I completely forgot about that.
They just told us about something about how the castles on the earth were built, and that for some of them there were actual giants that but there's all kinds of beings. I'm sure you already know this.
Oh yeah, I've started to draw them now because I've had so many come through, especially like because when I work with DMT, I can see them very clearly. They all are holographic in nature, so they're not like, they don't have structure in 3D, but they're holographic in nature. And the more that I work with medicine, the molecule, I can see them take shape. And sometimes they'll just be light beings, so they don't have any shape. But yeah, depending on where they come from or whatever, it's super super interesting.
I was telling Travis when you walked away, it's so nice to talk to someone who understands all this stuff and isn't like.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I feel the same way. I love it. Like, I could talk about this stuff all day long, and it's usually people don't. Thankfully, I manifested a way to be able to do this for a living, and so to be able to do this kind of stuff. But yeah, usually people don't really understand the level of things that you're talking about.
We were looking at your comments and whew, there's some hot comments on there. How do you deal with that?
So I trust my mission, and I trust in Sevyn's mission, and it took a while for me to get to that point. But when Spirit tells me this is what you came here to do, and this is what she came here to do, and if I would be like dimming her spirit by not allowing her to do it, I would feel I just couldn't do that. That's not who I am. And then also when Spirit told me this is what you're going to do, it, like, I got to a level of resolve about it that I was just really patient with people. And yeah, it's just, I understand that everybody's on their own journey. It's the people that the only thing that really did bother me, that I really got triggered by, is somebody tagged CPS, and that's actually happened a few times, Child Protective Services.
Oh Lord.
And
No.
I was just like, wow, you guys don't know what you're doing there. Like, I'm an amazing mother. Like, we have the best relationship. Like, and you're trying to get my daughter taken away from me because I'm allowing her to be herself. Like, wow, that's very dangerous.
Yeah.
When something like that of that nature happens, like, I have to respond, and I have
Oh
to
yeah.
address it. But most of the time, I just turn the other cheek unless I think that somebody is open enough to maybe understand where I'm coming from. Then I'll respond. Make it about it, and educate people on what they're saying, because a lot of times, and no judgment, but a lot of times these comments come from people who are very much based in the Christian belief system of we go by the Bible, and these things are all sins, and that's fine, and I don't judge anybody for that. But also, if we're truly going by the Bible, Jesus didn't persecute anybody. He loved everybody. So, and he didn't judge anyone. And so if this is what you're really saying, then we also need to follow we need to follow what you're preaching there. So, so I like to point those things out, and also like to let them know that it's spiritual and religious gatekeeping, that we
Mm.
can't say, okay, because you didn't find God in the way that I want you to, you're wrong. Because I think that's This is what's kept us divided for so many years. And we're trying to come together. Anything that takes us away from unity is dangerous. Anything that takes us away from coming together is things that need to be worked out and that get to be talked about and get to really be ironed out, because we can't continue. It doesn't work. We've tried it. We've tried
Right.
this. It doesn't work.
We've done it for too long, right?
Yeah.
Way too long. Yeah,
And then people are ready for something else.
absolutely. I think like you said, the collective is just done with this and ready to not be separate, not have duality anymore.
They talk about all of that stuff, especially the Bible. They talk about that all the time, like
Yeah.
because there's so much stuff that's pretty much made up and threw in there.
It's absolutely made up. And I always tell people, man wrote this, man translated it, and man retranslated it to fit the narrative they wanted to push at that time. There is no such thing as hell.
Right.
They're just for them.
Right. That's what the angels said when I channel them. They said it doesn't exist. They said that's one reason why Earth is so messed up now is mainly because of religion. Honestly.
Yep. My guys have told me the same thing, and they've said sadly the ones that are the most dangerous because they're the most divisive are people that are very like stuck in their religion, like hardcore, because they're not open to looking at anything else. And if you don't do it their way, then they're not, and they will die for it. And it's kind of like, wow, man, okay. Like you want to kill people over something that you've just been told. They're not even thinking for themselves. They're just repeating things that were passed on to them.
They told us it was for control, right?
Right.
That was made for control. And we didn't expect to talk to angels either. It just happened. But they are definitely not what people think of as the biblical idea of not at all.
They pretty much speak like us. At least through me, they speak like us. Like when I channel, I don't channel like other channels do when they talk about all this mystic stuff and you don't know what the hell they talking about.
Yeah.
They don't talk like that through me. They say it exactly where you can understand it. Like they speaking like me and you are speaking to each other right now, so you can understand. I thank God I'm glad I don't channel like. I'm sorry, man. I don't channel like those other people talking about mystical stuff and.
But there's also a lot of fakes out there. There's a lot of fakes. There's a lot of people who are hijacked. This is also something my guides have told me because I channel as well, but I mainly channel my guides. I first learned to channel through my higher self first, and now my higher self and soul is allowing other beings to come through to speak through me. But I don't do it full trance. I'm semi-conscious. But Spirit was telling me, and my guides are telling me, this is how people get hijacked because they don't properly neutralize and they don't have their higher self as the gatekeeper. Mm-hmm. So just anything can come plug in, and then people are like, oh, this being told me this and this being told me that. And then it's like, whoa, that doesn't align with, so it's very, there's a lot of people that are hijacked and don't know it, sadly. And what's crazy is like when we went to Life Conscious Expo, I could see, like, I'd be walking around and I could see like a couple people and I'd see like beings standing behind them, like, oh, wow, they're hijacked, And it's not my business. I would never go up and say something like that to somebody, unless they ask me, like, hey, do you see any attachment on me? And then I would have to say the truth. But yeah, that's not my place to do so. But unfortunately, that stuff happens. He's such a ham.
I think they said that people, their fear gets in the way of their channeling, so their channeling gets distorted. Because I was really curious about that.
Fear and belief systems get in the way. Your biases get in the way. The truth is not going to come out correctly.
Right. And usually if somebody channels something, because like when I channel, they don't channel nothing negative at all. So if somebody channels something negative, I know it ain't right.
Yeah, you're like, yeah. The only being that does speak, it's not negative per se, but I have a guide that is an earth-based reptilian guide, and he's actually lovely. But like, he will say things like, you humans, like, dude, like, and what he said to me the other day, he was like, you humans get stuck on these things for so long. Like, if I can experience sadness if somebody hurts my heart, but I don't experience, I experience sadness, but I don't experience hurt. And I was like, wow. Because he was, you guys carry it for so long and you just don't let it go. And he was like, that's the problem with you humans. And so that's about like as negative as it gets. Right?
Yeah. They give us a little bit of that too. The angels are
Yeah, a little bit.
they're like, you're very emotional beings, but that's just how you're made.
Yeah, they'll say it like that. Yeah.
But I have a positive reptilian guide too.
This is what I tell everybody. It's like they're just like humans. Everything is positive and negative because it's polarity, it's balance, and they all play their role. And I believe what my take is it is on this is everything is playing a role, but it's all still designed to help us elevate our consciousness, even the negative ones, because it teaches us to have discernment. It teaches us to what we don't want. It teaches us maybe to grow from that negative experience.
I was going to ask you something because we have a lot of clients who tell me that they have gifted children, but I'm not sure that they know what to do with that all the time. And a lot of times they'll tell me that these kids are having a hard time or not sleeping well or just all kinds of things like that. What are your thoughts on that?
This started when Sevyn started seeing spirits when it wasn't until we moved here, and we lived downstairs in this apartment. It was before I learned to spiritually cleanse my apartment, because I don't allow any beings inside of the space now unless they're invited explicitly. So I made that, and I did a lot of spiritual hygiene in this place to keep it that way. But yeah, I get a lot of parents that ask me this too. The main thing is to always show your child that you're not afraid, to go to them with this calming, and to never deny their experiences. Even if you don't believe it, never to invalidate their experiences. That's the first thing. Because then they're going to think they can't trust you, and then they're not going to come to you, and then they're going to be stuck in this, creates trauma later on, right? So that's the first thing, is never invalidate their experience. Even if you don't understand it, ask questions and remain calm. And then secondly, give them a tool to use. If there is some kind of fear component coming up, give them a tool that they can use to deal with it. Like with Sevyn, I got her a water gun, and I taught her to okay, this is your spiritual water in here, and I put Florida water in there. So she could just and so that helped her. And then I also taught her to put, a shield of light around her always before she goes to sleep. And then also we went through a ritual of before she would go to sleep to talk to her guides and ask for protection through the night, and then also ask for guidance and to remember her dreams and things. And then as this went on, and I always comfort then the other thing is to always comfort your kids. If they're feeling afraid about it, don't say, oh, it's just the dark, there's nothing to be afraid of. Don't do that either, because again, then they're going to lose trust, and that'll damage the relationship. So again, just comfort them, keep them secure, keep them feeling secure. And then the last thing is really just to have a dialogue with them about it. And if you don't understand it, get them and put them in touch with somebody like myself, or that understands what this is like and can walk them through it, and people that can see what they're seeing, because that's truly going to validate their experiences. And when they hear that somebody else can see the beings that they're seeing, they're just they cry in joy, because they're so happy, because for so long they felt nobody gets them, and it's a very lonely existence to feel that way. So if the parent doesn't quite know how to do it, then put them in touch with somebody who can help them.
But they reach out to you for help.
Yes, because I have a child and I've been through this, and I understand all the phases of fear and everything that happened, in the beginning. And then I also dealt with it on the opposite side of not with the ETs, but with my gifts, being able to see. I had premonitions about things, and my parents telling me that was the devil. That created a lot of trauma and distrust with my family. So, and I turned off my gifts until I was 21, until I then went back and took a class on parapsychology. And I know, I'm so glad, and this is primarily why I let Sevyn speak out, because this is how the parents get comfortable enough to go, oh my gosh, this is happening to other people. This woman's not afraid to let her kid speak about it. And it was so funny too, because I don't know if you've seen Bray, Kelly the Magical. Okay, so Spirit told me within a year, there's going to be other parents allowing their kids, just wait. And I was like, okay, waiting. I was going to tell the guy to waiting. It's been 10 months, and then all of a sudden he came out. I was like, yeah, was
You're
so
like, oh,
excited.
thank
It was
God.
validation.
Finally.
They've
Yeah.
never steered me wrong. They really haven't. So that's why I have a deep relationship with them and a trust. But yeah, I've been awake and going through experiences since I was 21 when I reawakened, I guess you would say. Yeah, so it's been full on since then. So yeah, and I just used to do readings for like my friends and stuff like that, but I would always have premonitions, and the guides were teaching me stuff about timelines at that point. So I knew like, okay, that's just a one possible timeline, and many, and learning about things like that. And I really spent a lot of that time journeying with psychedelics and really healing past traumas and really working on myself so that I could be the best, like clearest channel for the information. Because in the beginning, a lot of stuff got distorted by my religious programming or by, and I could tell that was happening, but I just didn't know how to get rid of it. So it was amazing. Like I first started working with psilocybin, and then DMT came on board later on, which DMT is like I have such a profound respect for this molecule because it's opened me up. Sevyn first opened me up to my healing abilities, and then after she did, then DMT kind of took me on another journey of how to do this avatar healing thing that I do, which works on the energy body instead of on the physical body. Because you know how Reiki works, like you're working on the physical body. I work on an energy body, and I put a projection between my hands, and it's like I can see, because of the medicine, I can see a holographic projection of a body, and then I go through and I just move the energy.
Jeez, that is awesome.
Yeah, and it's getting even crazier because like VR stuff is coming on board. Like I was doing a session the other day for a woman, and there like tools appeared, and I was like, okay, what's this? I had to like pretend like this was normal, but I'm like,
Wow.
okay,
That's
there's like a tool, and they were telling me, and because I'm constantly tapped in, and asking. They're like, okay, what you're going to do is you're going to essentially like lance this area, and then she was missing cartilage on the knee, so I like took some of the other cartilage and like duplicated it and put it on the other side, and it worked.
Oh, that's the coolest thing.
Yeah, I mean, it really is like mind blowing. If I wasn't experiencing it myself and like having other people show me, because I always want to verify everything, like, does this work? Because if it doesn't work, it's fun, but it's not really something that you can,
Right. Yeah, I feel the same way.
Yeah.
It seems like there's a lot more coming in since New Year's too, like a lot more energy, healing energy, types of healing, different things. That's what I feel like.
yeah,
I
it's
don't know.
amazing. It's so exciting because each person has their own specialty, and it's going to be like physicians. Like each person's going to have their own area that they specialize in. Yeah. And I think that I really love that. And I think that's where we're headed. And when I always used to ask Sevyn, what do you want to be? She was like, I want to be a doctor teacher. And I'm like, well, what's that? She's like, a doctor that teaches people how to really heal. And that used to make me laugh so hard because she's like, doctors don't really heal anything. So she wants to be a doctor that actually
That is true.
teaches
Yeah.
people how to heal. I'm like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another thing that started this is I had cancer and
Oh my God.
I healed I healed myself.
Oh yeah,
It's
you
that
did.
was
Awesome.
yeah, part of the whole little journey, huh?
Yeah.
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 Wow. Congrats. Wow.
Thank you. And I'm just like you, same thing. I just want to tell people like you don't have to do all that stuff. There's all these cool ways that you can heal yourself.
Yeah, and the light language we do together is also healing people. Like it's starting to heal people. Like
Yeah. Well, I know Sevyn. I mean, I see the comments that she gets just from the short ones that she does, People are like, whoa, that healed my back or whatever. She gets a lot of those, doesn't she?
Yeah, hers are really powerful. And it's funny, the more like, if people ask for something that she doesn't necessarily understand, like, oh, what that feels like, I'll try to like, okay, explain to her, like, when you do this, like she went on for nerve pain. She was like, what does that feel like? I'm like, when you hit your elbow? She's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. Like, so, and I kind of did it a little bit, like her funny bone. She was like, oh, I'm like, okay. Like, that, get rid of that. She's like, oh, so it was so powerful, right? But like ones for cancer, it's like, okay, so then I have to like go through and get creative and like try to explain it to her way so that she can understand what happens. And then then it turns really powerful once she can understand it. But she doesn't always have to understand it. She can tap in and, just move the energies. But when she actually understands it, then it's like it does something and it moves things in a different way. It's really powerful.
I know she said she's going to change the world, right? When she was 2. That was the cutest thing. I know she's for real. I believe that.
Yep, she is like that's yeah. She's been saying that since she was a baby, which blew my mind because at that point we didn't. That was actually that video that you saw when she's like, "Change the world, I have powers." They were 2 years old. That was right before the alien stuff started in our house. That was right before the visitation stuff started. Right before,
Wow.
like weeks before.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So that's the timeline on that. But she wants to be a doctor. She doesn't want to go to medical school because she thinks it's ridiculous to have to go to school for that long but she wants to be able to learn about the body. Like she wants to know more details about the body. So we've already kind of been studying that, but she wants to kind of work with me. I think that's kind of what that's kind of like how we envision it. We want to have a healing center one day. And essentially like where we do retreats and I work with the adults and then she so parents and kids can come and then she goes and works with the kids and
Oh, wow.
so I think that's where we would like for it to go because whenever I go do retreats, because most of the time I'm working with psychedelics, so she can't be there. So, but she's always really like, I want to go, and she's totally a little, mini shaman herself. Like she's so funny, because she just has my shakapa and she'll start singing. She'll start singing Icaros already, and I was like, "Whoa, where did that come from?" And she's like, "The plants gave it to me," and I'm like. And I didn't tell her that this is how shamans learn how to the plants sing them the songs,
Wow.
for when people are doing medicine and ayahuasca. And yeah, so I didn't even tell her that. She's like, the plants gave me that song, and I was like, wow, okay. I mean, yes, in time, I think that's probably part of it. I also had a vision of her being an actual ayahuasca shaman in we're in Brazil or in Peru, I can't remember, but she was 17 years old, full on shaman, in indigenous stuff, and I was like, whoa, I don't know. So maybe that's one timeline, but I had a vision of that too. But so in her own way, whatever she wants to do, she'll do it. Yeah,
That's super cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, we both mainly just want to help people be the best versions of themselves and for people to treat one another this gets me choked up, treat one another better and be kinder to one another. Especially on social media, people can be so nasty because they sit behind a computer and they don't realize the things that they say hurt people.
It's funny, they'll assume that you're doing it to be this or that, and it didn't start out like that at all. And you're like, I didn't plan on this. I don't even think we said the word angel, did we? For the first 4 years we were married, we didn't talk about anything like this. It just happened.
And they definitely don't write a handbook for this kind of stuff.
Oh my gosh.
And
No,
it's
they don't.
just all you gotta. You get to kind of learn as you go along, and so
It's a lot of that.
Yeah, it is, and there's a lot of nonsense out there. There's a lot of people that spread a lot of fear stuff, and I always tell people I turn down the volume of the other because if we're giving our power away to something else, then we're taking it away from ourselves. So if we're saying oh, this thing is after me or this or that person, be careful on this day and all of that. I don't roll with that because that's giving your power away. When I understand I create my own reality, and I'm sure you guys know that you create your own reality too.
Yeah.
And yes, there is one universal timeline, but you can have a huge influence on that timeline and your own individual collective experience. Because they full on showed me, DMT has shown me how the simulation works. I have a friend who got guidance from the molecule, an actual frog being came through, told him to make a 650 nanometer refracted laser, shine it on a surface to smoke tea, and if you do, you see the matrix code of reality running through the surface. I swear.
Wait, tell me more. I want to know more.
So his name's Danny Goler. He studied physics. He is a very, very smart man, and a dear friend of mine. He came up with on DMT one day, this frog being told him to create a 650 nanometer refracted laser, which you can buy them. I have one actually here in the house, and you shine it on the surface, and then when you imbue DMT and you stare at the surface of the wall, you'll see you kind of have to stare for a little while, and you look like you're looking into a glass. Sometimes it takes people a minute, but sometimes it can take 20 minutes, but usually when I've done it with clients, they see it pretty quickly. You see what look like little Japanese katakana and then zeros and ones running ticker tape style down, like the Matrix.
Gosh.
But it's
Holy crap.
I'm always asking them, like how you can see more and see more.
Yeah, and so that's proof to me, like, this is a constructed reality. It is a simulation. It doesn't make it less real, right?
Mhm.
Because of the experiences we have is what makes it real. But yeah, it is a simulation. And because of that, that's actually amazing because it's a simulation. We can change anything. We can create anything we want to. We just have to believe that we can do it.
I think what did they say it? Well, they've said it, different ways. Like it's like you're dreaming. You haven't really left. You're sort of like a dream. And then they've said it's a hologram.
Yeah.
Evan says that too all the time. It's a hologram.
Just like during that. Did you guys talk about that eclipse? And taking off the glasses a little bit? Or
I did, and I looked at it, and here's the thing that I knew. So my guides told me, because I can see, there's some days I go outside, and because I work with DMT, I have an advantage. I can see the codes coming off the sun. It's not every day, but there are certain codes that come off the sun. And they were telling me it's very important, the codes that are going to be coming off during, and they said it was at a specific time, not like, and because we weren't in the path of totality. So they were like, just look at it for a couple of seconds,
Okay.
like just make sure you see the codes, and then like don't stare at it, obviously. And so I was like, okay. And so it was interesting. Like, so I did that. I went and sat on the roof, and the people were out there like, did you just look at it? I'm like, they're like, are you blind? I'm like, no. My guides told me. So I took out my contact lenses, and it actually sharpened my vision a little bit. Yeah, so I put my contact lenses back in today again, but I've been running around without them. And I put my glasses on to drive, but like I've been actually, and I'm like pretty blind, so it sharpened my vision a little bit. How I don't pretend to know, and I know like I have not done that for other people, but there are some like, all I know is it did a little, because I haven't done anything else, any kind of energy work on my eyes. So that it was after that I was like, I could read, how I noticed this, because I was like, I could read the time on the microwave without having my glasses on.
Oh, that's cool. I bet that's a nice gift, right?
Yeah. I'm just like, I'm hoping, I'm like, please stay.
Please stay. Please don't go away.
And can we sharpen it just a little more so I don't have to wear it?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be more people getting more gifts and more gifts lately. I think.
Yeah, that's what I've been told too. Not just that, but also people are going to be seeing a lot more.
Well, people will see. There will be so many people that see the same thing and get it recorded on their phone that there won't be a way for people to just blow it off. It'll be like, oh, that really did happen because too many people saw it. So how can people get in touch with you if they want to work with you or?
Absolutely. You can go to www.psychicbabes.com and then just go to shop, and then all of my services are listed there. If you are interested in any of my retreats or anything with psychedelics, just email me, Kirsten, KIRSTEN, at psychicbabes.com, PSYCHICBABES.com.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for spending time with us.
Wonderful. Thanks, Sarah.
So appreciate it.
You guys are awesome. All right.
It was nice meeting you.
Nice
We
to meet
love you. Have
You
a
too.
good night. Tell Sevyn bye.
I will. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Quantum Healing with the Angels. This podcast is sponsored by Sarah Webb Beyond Quantum Healing. Contact Sarah today for your free consultation and mention this ad for 10% off your Quantum Healing or Quantum Connect session.